Councilman Barry, I appreciate all of the service that you've done for the district, and I just, when you bring up language, I was floored by your use of Civil War as language about what this movement is about, what our work, what the LGBT community's work is about, and what marriage equality could mean for the district. I think that marriage equality can mean for the district healthy families, healthy children, and a healthier district. And whatever happens, what this community needs, what this city needs, is for its leaders to be about what brings us together, rather than inciting the kind of just using Civil War to talk about this is inciting violence, and that's the last thing that district needs. With things going the way that they are in this country and around the world, we need each other more than anything. So I would just really appreciate you being able to use better language than that.
Councilmember Barry, my name is Michael Crawford, and I'm a former constituent of yours from Ward 8. And I do have to say that I was extremely surprised when you said that you thought that there would be a civil war around marriage equality in the district. Because I know that there are a lot of African American people, both gay and straight, who support marriage equality for the district. And we have always seen you as being a friend of the LGBT community and a leader on civil rights issues. And I am hoping that you will change your mind and come out in support of marriage equality, because it's something that's really important to gay and lesbian families, particularly gay and lesbian families where the partners are Black. So I'm hoping that you will continue in your strong support of the LGBT community by changing your mind on marriage and actually coming out in favor of supporting marriage equality in the district.
Marriage equality is very important, that there are families, just like we have families, and that we have to be considerate of the needs of the families here in the district. I think that there are a lot of rights and a lot of oppressions and a lot of disadvantages from not having full marriage equality. And I think that Marion Barry, I think if he really takes the time to go through all the disparities that people are missing out on within our communities, that he'll realize that it's not the right decision to side against gay marriage. I think that it's an uplifting of the community, and I think that we should continue to push for such legislation throughout the states. I think.
Why are you support gay marriage?
I support gay marriage because I believe in equality for all. It's pretty much that simple. I think.
Are you gay?
No, I'm a straight ally.
Why do you care about this issue?
I care about the issue because I feel as though that there are people being targeted, there are people being oppressed and looked over and just being left out of what is full American privilege. I believe that we have a society that promotes liberty, freedom, and justice for all, and I think that marriage equality is a part of it.
Why Black churches are opposing so much? Are they afraid of something?
I don't think that you can massively generalize and say that all Black churches are against gay marriage. I think that there is some conversations that need to be had. There's some education curves, and I think that as we continue to have these conversations with churches, having conversations about homophobia, having conversations about the disadvantages that couples are having by not being able to be married, I think that the education level will close some of those misconceptions. So I don't believe that African American churches in the general sense are opposed to gay marriage. I think that there's a lot of education that needs to be done within our churches and within our community at large for people to fully understand what this struggle is all about.
Marion Barry, I'm I have some issues with some of your statements. I mean, I think that when you said that you're talking about the black community would be all up in arms about this, I kind of want to know what are some of the members of the communities that you've actually spoke to. You spoke definitely to some of the clergy, some that are not even from DC, which is fine, whatever. But did you actually go out and talk to like black LGBT people? Did you talk to their families? Did you talk to their friends? Like what actual people did you actually consult when you were actually saying that you've come to these decisions? And also like a person like yourself who's faced oppression and who's gone through things, of course, being an activist during the 1960s and having people put like cigarette butts in your face, doing all these oppressive things. Why could you, like, I don't understand how you can stand against that kind of oppression, but then at the same time actually stand for oppression of a whole other group, which is doing the same thing, which is creating a second-class citizenship. And I mean, like, the idea around same-sex marriage and racism and like civil rights movement, all these different things, there are definitely tons of differences, but I think at the same thing though, like, people learn lessons from like these movements, and these movements also at the end of the day know how it feels to be oppressed.
What do you think of the comments made by Councilmember Marion Barry?
Definitely just atrocious. I mean, especially since he represents District 8, which is a heavily black community. I think it's just atrocious that when he gets up on stage, according explicitly his history, and to get up on stage and then quote moral values, Leviticus. I mean, look at Leviticus. Basically what he did is more than enough to be burned by the Bible standard.
Are you openly gay? With your family, with friends?
I would say that I am more of a person that I don't really, I express my issues, but I don't necessarily believe that that's the first thing that has to come out of my mouth.
Right, because I understand that being African American and being gay is different than, I guess, being white and being gay.
Right.
But what he said was basically kind of promoting violence and hate against gay people.
Right, and it's just again the misconception that one, African Americans can't be gay, or that two, African Americans have to be overly religious and be against gays. And so these are just two misconceptions that's being put out there by the media, that are being sadly put out there by a lot of black leaders, and it's just something that just needs to stop.
Marion Barry, I think before you speak on behalf of the entire DC Black community, you should actually speak to the entire DC Black community. There are a lot of voices that were left unheard by your remarks. There are a lot of LGBT gay people in this community who want marriage equality, who need that protection and that right so that they can live full lives as American citizens. So, just a word of notice, before you speak on behalf of the entire community, make sure that you speak to the entire community.
Are you gay?
Yes, I am gay.
And do you think it's healthy to stay in the closet?
I don't think, ultimately at the end of the day, I don't think it is healthy to stay in a closet, but I can understand why someone would. I mean, again, it's like if you don't see images of yourself that are out already, and if there aren't other people speaking out and actually within mainstream organizations that are actually making sure that they're inclusive of people of color, then I can see why someone would be like, you know what, I'm not going to stay in. Like when you start connecting issues around like poverty and things like that, and you see people like LGBT people and people working together on all these sorts of issues, then of course, then I feel like more people would be willing to come out because they would see that things can change and people can work together, and it isn't just this one very narrow image of LGBT people, which is really just the image of a gay man who's rich. So, I mean, I think even when I was in high school some years ago, I mean, I didn't come out because I was definitely scared of it. But I mean, now just seeing some people like at my high school, like since the years that I've graduated, that are out and have partners and stuff like that, I find it amazing. And I mean, there's still plenty of work to be done, and there's still obviously people that don't feel like coming out because they feel like they don't see themselves in the media images, they don't see themselves with the activism like of people that are people of color. I mean, and that's something that needs to be worked on.